to another episode of Spiritual Superpowers. We're very excited today because we have Michael Philpott back on the show. Michael is a personal trainer, Reiki master, psychic medium. You have a podcast, the Metaphysical Mentor, and you're also a teacher.
Yes.
So thank you so much for coming on the show again today and chatting with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I mean, I really enjoy speaking to you ladies. It's always fun and enjoyable. And I really love your podcast too, as well. I love the superpowers. Love that. And it's just always so amazing. Some of the topics you guys come up. So I was like going, that's really cool. I love the dowsing one. That was just the recent one. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. That was fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is. And hopefully we'll have a little bit more with the divination tools coming up too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah. All that stuff. I mean, that's one of the things I love about the podcast. You get to meet so many people and so many different topics. Yeah, it's fun. And I just eat that stuff up.
Yeah.
I think today's topic is going to be pretty good too, because we're going to talk about being an empath, because I think there's a lot of people out there who maybe don't know what an empath is and probably don't even know that they might be one themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure actually a lot of people that tune into our show and your show are empaths, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of people are. It's just one of those things that, you either or you really don't know. And then when you figure out, it's like, okay, that makes so much sense. It's like a sense of relief that once you realize, okay, this is what's happening with me and I can have control over it, then it's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious to know your story because you are an empath, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand that your psychic abilities really didn't come to until you did your first level of Reiki. And that's when it kind of, as you say, opened up Pandora's box. Is that where you turned into an empath as well? Or was that something that you've always had?
No, I was always an empath. I just didn't know I was an empath, which was one of my original first gifts. So through life, up until my 30s, I mean, I just really thought I was really batshit crazy, to be honest with you. It was really a struggle. Like, I'm normally a happy guy, and I just I couldn't shake this feeling that I always feeling there's something wrong with me. There's always picking up, certain emotions. I would change my moods all the time. So I really didn't know. Actually, it was interesting how I found out that I was actually an empath is I actually went to a psychic medium myself, who later became one of my teachers. And I went for a reading, and then she goes, "Oh, by the way, do you know you're an empath?" And I go, "Empath? What's that?" Well, you pick up the feelings and emotions of other people. And then the light bulb just kind of went off, and I was like, "Oh my gosh. Now that wholly makes sense. Like now I understand what's going on." And it's not like I feel the emotions. I actually take them on as my own experience. So it can be very, very difficult to figure out what is my own issue. What am I feeling? Because I'm actually taking on the person that's around me or people that are around me, their emotions and their feelings. So it's very hard to separate that. And it's always like you're feeling overwhelmed all the time because why am I feeling so shitty all the time? Why am I feeling so depressed? Or why am I angry? And it could be not really yours. It's usually the people that are around you are.
Yeah, that's right. Because empath, the term comes from empathy, which empathy is where you have the ability to understand experiences and feelings of others outside of your own perspective. But as an empath, you actually, it's not that you put yourselves in their shoes and you have that understanding. It's that you are actually experiencing it. You're taking it on. So a lot of times empaths have some issues. They find it maybe overwhelming to be in crowds. And as you were, like you would be around people and you would just, all of a sudden your mood would change and you wouldn't really understand why you're feeling shitty, why you're feeling crappy, why you're angry, why it's an emotional roller coaster. And it's because it possibly you were being influenced by the other people and bringing on their energy.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you guys are bringing up this topic because I think a lot of people out there are misunderstood and they're kind of feeling why do I feel this certain way? Now, granted too, well, you have to understand, part of this, you have to figure out what is your particular issue, what's going on with you too as well. Because that can compound things too as well. So you may have your own emotional issues, some trauma that you may be dealing with yourself. And then now you take that and then add somebody else's stuff on it. And now you're really overwhelmed. You really don't know how to do that. So it's really important to allow yourself to be able to separate what is your stuff, and figure out what's going on with you. What were your traumas? What were your things that happened in your life versus what's happening on the other person's life? So it's really, I think it's really important to people to figure that out.
And that comes into play with, personal growth and development, working on yourself, working through your traumas, through your issues. And
well, it was interesting when I was younger and I was newly married. Some of you know that my husband is a high-level triathlon coach. We'd go to a triathlon and, there's lots of people there and lots of different energies. And Barry gets energized by lots of people around. It would suck my energy. He would stay, afterwards and mingle, and he would love it. And I would get so stressed. So finally, what we decided to do, and I didn't understand why, we always drove to the triathlon separately. And people would say, why do you always show up separately? And it's so I could leave and he could stay. And I didn't really understand why we ended up doing that. I just knew that it was better for both of us.
Yeah. I actually do that a lot, and a lot of people think that with an empath and stuff, it's not like we don't like being around people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people think that we're rude or why are you leaving? It's just that we just get overwhelmed by the energy.
Yeah.
And it's even could be our best friends. Like, most of my good friends now, they understand me and they know what's going on. And it's actually really, really cute now. Like they actually go, okay, Mike, I did some clearing before I came over. So just to make sure that my energy is clear of being around you, which I think is so fantastic because they know as soon as they walk in the room, I'm picking up what's going on. And it's like, man, why are you so angry? Can you just do a few laps around the house and just pull that off? But, my friends have been fantastic that way. But, a lot of people think that we're rude because we want to leave. Like if you go to a social gathering and you want to leave early, I usually go by myself too as well, because sometimes I got to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that because the three of us understand that we are empaths now, that setting up those boundaries, understanding our limitations is really beneficial for ourselves to protect ourselves from being burnt out. But for a lot of our viewers who might be questioning now, oh my goodness, am I an empath? Typically, before we discover this, like you were saying, like you would just be exhausted, maybe cranky, maybe drained. I was at an event yesterday and a young lady that I was with, she knows that she's an empath, but she really doesn't understand the concept. And she's a people pleaser. So she kind of stayed the long term. She did what she was supposed to do to help people, to support them, and really stepped up, which is great. But, today she's just exhausted. She's so drained. She's emotionally, just hurting. And so she overdid it. Clearly, she doesn't understand how to set those boundaries and also have her strength inside of herself to actually step up and say, okay, you know what, this is my limit here. I have to protect myself and step back. It's my time to leave.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important, is to really understand boundaries. And I think a lot of people who are empaths, we tend to be people pleasers anyways. In some ways, we're always the healers. We're always the people that love to help people. And that's the great kind of gift about being an empath, is that we care a lot. And I think we care too much. And again, setting those boundaries where it's like, okay, I got to protect what is left, because if you have nothing left in the tank, and I've been in so many situations, I don't have nothing left in the tank. I can't give anymore. Even though in my heart, I want to help people, I have nothing left. There's just nothing left. So it's really important to create those boundaries, and learn those energetic boundaries and techniques to make sure. And there's a really, really interesting thing to do is just to say no.
So yes, learning that word no is really hard, and it's not easy to use it no matter what. I mean, when we do learn to say it, we're doing it out of, protection mode.
And I think maybe, if you're listening to this and you're realizing, oh, I'm an empath, there are some upsides to being an empath. And maybe you can explain some of the upsides, Michael.
Well, the nice thing about it, you can really filter through the bullshit. Really, your bullshit filter is pretty good, so you can really kind of go, yeah, no, I don't think so. And you actually get the sense of the room before you actually go into it too, as well. So your intuitiveness is a lot heightened more than most people, and it's like it is very much a superpower. Now, again, I always like to call it my curse, but at the same time too, I understand it now. And it really gives you a lot of opportunity to really understand people, what's going on. So most times people love coming to talk to you about the problems.
Yes.
So, I mean, you become a very reliable source of help for people because you can really understand them. And a lot of people don't know why you understand them, but you just do. And they just feel that sense of ease. So from a healer's point of view and somebody who is do any psychic work or type things, it's an invaluable tool because you can really get to the heart of the matter really quickly. So you can actually feel what they're feeling and know what they're not and understand what's going on with them very, very much quicker. Um, and then also too is that if you reverse the field, instead of taking on and you expose it out, because we are so invested in the understanding of the emotion that we're feeling. But if you reverse that out and move that from a feeling of sadness and sorrow into love, that expenditure out is so immense. So when an empath pushes that heart energy out, that's when the magic happens. And most people don't even realize what's going on. And that's where the true beauty comes in.
Yes, definitely. And I love that you call it a superpower because I definitely agree with that. I really do believe that it's a superpower. And if you can learn to harness it, then you can make such a difference in the room. I don't know. I read the Twilight books and I saw the movies, and there was one brother, I don't even remember his name, but he was someone that when he entered a room, he could control, the way people felt. And it's kind of similar to what you like, that's kind of how I thought about it when you were talking about if you can reverse it and actually emanate it, then you can kind of help people in that way by neutralizing their emotions, bringing them into a more homeostatic situation, and just help support them in that way by holding space.
Yeah. And I think a nice thing too is that you can actually just make aware if somebody's feeling anxious and feeling nervous or excited or fearful, stuff like that, you're going to pick up on it. You can actually walk over. So they have a sense that you're feeling fearful or anxiety, and they go, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" Like I am just that. And just by just acknowledging that, it makes a big difference in them. And then they become more relaxed. And then it's like, good, they're relaxed. I can feel relaxed too. So
Mhm.
it's a great way of doing that.
Coming across and meeting with other empaths, or maybe watching this video, will help anyone who maybe doesn't feel like they fit in or doesn't quite understand why they feel the way that they are. This will hopefully create a little bit of a circle of like a safe circle where they can realize that there are people out there who do understand, and that there's maybe it's a conversation that you can start not only going up to someone and saying, you seem a little stressed or you seem a little sad, what can I help you, but also maybe go up and learn to express yourself in that way with someone and say, look, this is how I'm feeling. Because a lot of times empaths feel alone and they feel like no one really understands them. People love us because they feel understood, but maybe we ourselves kind of feel like we're misunderstood. But as you touched on it, sometimes you need to isolate, sometimes we need alone time to recharge. So what are some of the things that you do to recharge, or your self-care as an empath?
Well, I got a lot. So here we go. You got your pen handy? You got your pencils handy?
Everyone grab your pen, take notes.
So, I mean, this is what I do. It doesn't, again, you'll find what works for you, but I do a lot of different things. Number one, nature. Get out in nature and go for walks in nature. It is really important. It's nature has this amazing ability to clear your energy field. It's neutral. It recharges you. It cleanses you. So number one, get out in nature. Go for a walk. Sit underneath a tree. Just be in somewhere where you can hear birds and water, whatever else, whatever is closest to you. Just get out in nature. So that's number one. Number two is cleansing. Very, very much so. Like showers, baths, like Epsom salt baths. Love that. It's great for clearing the energy field too as well.
And if I can just interrupt, I like to have an Epsom salt bath, but I like to have it at the end of the day. So you kind of clear all that energy away. Like, I mean, you can have it at different times of the day, depending what your day looks like, but I like to do it before bed. And then you've got that clean slate, to go to bed and fall asleep and do all the things you need to do while you're sleeping, recharging and that sort of thing.
Especially in a sacred space like your bedroom. That's an excellent idea, to go to bed having cleansed your
I do the same thing. And then I'll sometimes put some essential oils in there too as well. So like lemon's a good one for cleansing, or I would use even at the end of the night, just kind of do some lavender just to clear up. But just cleansing, stuff like that. So the other one I do is smudging. I'm like a smudging freak. I love my smudge. I mean, it's like constantly going all the time. And it's great for just, it's kind of like your energetic bath. You can just do it really, really quickly and clean off the junk. From the
What's your
body. So,
favorite smudge, type of smudge?
just a regular white sage.
Yep.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll throw a little cedar in there, but for the most part, I'll just use the basic white sage and we'll go from there. So that's one of the ones I use a lot. Visualization, white light was another one. I know a lot of times we as light workers and energy workers, visualizing the white light coming down and cleansing us. If I'm really kind of going into like a really crazy situation, I know I got to go shopping in one of the big stores and stuff like that. I actually pretend like I have a suit of armor on. Now, I don't use a regular suit of armor. I got to use the Iron Man suit of armor. That's what I use.
Wow.
So I pretend I'm Tony Stark and I put it on, and it really works effectively for me because nothing's getting in. And so that's what I do. I mean, you can use a knight of armor, some light, whatever you want to do, but kind of visualize yourself, protect yourself, shielding yourself is one of the things that I do. And you got to be vigilant on it. That's one of the things because so many times I'm not paying attention. I've been in my meditation, I'm nice and open, and I forget to kind of close down and not paying attention. I walk out the door and wham, I get hit by somebody's junk, and it's like, and then I got to carry that around and try to clear that for the next half hour, an hour. So that's really important. Another thing I like to do is energy work or body work. I think it's really important. So whether you're getting acupuncture, which I love because it's great for the physical body to release those emotions. Massage is awesome. Yeah, yeah. Body work is very, very important. Also, I like to use. I said acupuncture is one of them, but also Reiki. So if you know somebody who does energy work too as well, you gotta do one of those and do it on a regular basis, which is fantastic. Another thing too, I think is really important is diet and exercise. It's really hard. I mean, as an empath, sometimes we tend to be people who, or use food to kind of compensate for how we're feeling. So food, alcohol, even drugs, just trying to keep that feeling away. So just be mindful of that. So,
I think
but
that's
food,
actually a
yeah,
really
for
good
sure. You
point.
just got to watch, what you eat and also watch what you watch on TV too, as well. Because you not knowingly, I mean, you could pick up the emotions that's happening and the information that's happening on TV. So you got to be very careful. Like the news is brutal. Even some of the TV shows now, like I can't even watch them anymore.
Yeah,
So
Mike, I love that you mentioned, diet and exercise because I know for me, if I do not protect myself, which you touched on the importance of doing the cleanse afterwards or the closing down afterwards, I'm actually really bad at that. It's one thing that I don't know if I'm focused on what my next step is, but on the weekend I went to Guelph. I had some psychic investigation work to do there. And it went a little longer than I expected. And I just hopped back in my car. I'm driving. Sure enough, when I got home, it hit me and I thought, oh my goodness, I forgot to close it off. So, when that type of thing happens, especially with, after a long day working with patients as well, is I am so drained that I crave sugar and I crave that numbingness of alcohol. So if I don't protect myself and I don't stay aware of that, when I get that type of fatigue, it's almost like my body just needs that serotonin hit and that numbing. And I almost don't have enough willpower because I'm so tired to not reach for chocolate or not reach for that extra glass of wine. And so I think that that's a big cue for a lot of people. Maybe if you do find at the end of the day that you have a really hard time making smart, healthy choices, then maybe take some of the self-care advice that you're talking about right now through the day, and maybe it'll help with people who maybe struggle a little bit at night, like I do.
And then don't watch the news when you get home.
Yeah.
Because that's what we do. We have this stressful day. We come home, we have a glass of wine and watch the news.
Yeah.
How backwards is that for an empath?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And it's so true because there are days where it's like, I mean, I don't drink a lot of alcohol anymore. But the sugars, yeah, I so empathize with that. It's like, man, I'm craving like caffeine and sugars.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause I'm so tired, I need the caffeine to get me going because I'm so drained. But then I need that sugar just to feel good, just to have that. And it's like, oh, let me just have, the other day it was like, because I was doing so many readings and then doing podcasting, Like I ended up making a whole cake. I made a whole cake. I said, you know, I'm just going to make a chocolate cake. I'm going to bake it. I was craving cake and I was like, I got to do it. And my brain just took over. But man, it was so tasty. But then afterwards, it's like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I gotta have that big piece of cake. But you know,
Yeah.
I so empathize with you because that's part of, you know, how we cope in some ways.
Michael's an empath and he can bake too. That's what we just learned.
Well, aren't you a classically trained chef?
Yeah, in my former life, yeah, I used to work as a chef. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't use my skills a lot these days because it's just me. But for the most part, yeah, they show up once in a while. It's like, okay, so
So that was a good cake.
yeah, it was actually. I found this killer recipe. It was a gluten-free cake, and it's so moist and so it's just so like soft and just moist. It's like, oh yeah, it was delicious.
I was just about to say, can you share that recipe with me?
It's actually really good, and you could substitute. Actually use sugar. I didn't have any xylitol, but you could use xylitol in it. But if you can go like, you know, half and half, and it still tastes awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, we might include that in the description box below.
We can get the recipe.
Yeah.
Well,
This was great.
this was really good. Thanks, Mike.
I really enjoy what you guys are doing, putting in a message out there. So I'm just very grateful to be on your show today.
Before we go, I just I want to make sure, because things are starting to open up now, thankfully from COVID. Will you be teaching more and more classes now? Like, you teach healthcare providers, but I also heard you say that you'll attune people to level 1 Reiki. Are you also, do you teach Reiki as well?
Yeah, definitely. Once this COVID get up, yeah, I'm going to be 100, well, not 100% focusing on that, but yeah, I'll be focusing a lot more on teaching because I really enjoy that. Because the more people we have that are healers out there, you know, the better. I think every household should have at least one Reiki practitioner.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Wow, you have it all. You're doing the teaching, you've got the podcast, and you're doing readings still too, right? Just not in person. Yeah.
So basically just doing the readings online right now. So we're doing through Zoom, so which is the fantastic one. Yeah, so which has been fabulous. So it's nice to really see, and just I still love that too. I mean, it's very tough because I love my teaching, but I also love my readings too, because you know, you can see the direct effect that you see with somebody. I like variety. Like I get bored so easily, so I always got to have something keep going. I'm an Aries that way too, right?
Yeah. Now, if people wanted to get in touch with you, do you have a website?
I don't have a website. I'm a kind of anti-website guy. No, I'm not. I just, you know what it is? I think I'm just lazy. No, but I mean, definitely now I do everything through social media. They can basically find me on Facebook page, Michael Philpott. They can go to Instagram, the Metaphysical Guy. They can find me there too as well. If you're interested in a podcast, you can go to Spotify or Apple and look for the Metaphysical Mentor Podcast. It's on YouTube too as well. You can just check out Michael Philpott and you'll see my lovely face. Look for that. And then you can basically just reach out to me on that, or you can just give me an email. Just send me an email at michael@michaelphilpott.com. So you can just reach me there too as well. So yeah, lots of different ways.
Well, it was so great talking to you again, Michael. And I hope we get to do this sometime soon.
And in person soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be a new thing. It'd be so weird. It feels like it'd be so weird.
I know. All right. Well, thank you again for taking the time to talk to us about being an empath, and we'll be sure to include all your information, all your links down below. If you enjoyed today's show, please be sure to hit the like button, and to get Michael's recipe, subscribe.
Yes. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. All right. See you soon.